Hola Madridistas. Don't know where to begin. Unbeaten in 13 games against German opposition. Um, Unbeaten 16 game run from the beginning of the season. Death, taxes, conceding from set pieces. I mean, it couldn't have gone wrong, anymore. Obligatory group stage fuck up. Here we come. Welcome back.
Hey guys, welcome back. I see a lot of sad faces.
Well, what else do you expect? We are not used to losing. If this was a Barcelona podcast, we would be gleefully looking forward to Thursday night football. But unfortunately, we represent a different kettle of fish. But welcome back again, people. We thought this would have been a routine post-match reaction, but before we kind of dive into the thick of things, please welcome our esteemed panel, usual suspects, Jacob, Doris, and Farooq. How do you guys feel? I'm gonna start with Doris, who took the longest to get here, and she was the reason why we were late.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Everyone,
You
I
need to
got stuck in
apologize,
traffic. I
but
had
you
to get
deserve to be you deserve to be put on the spot.
Yeah, I do. Well, obviously not an amazing game. Not feeling amazing, but it was bound to happen. So I mean, we could have expected something like this to happen with the absence of Benzema, Modric, Valverde, Mendy. Like many of our starters didn't play today, and it was a choice of Ancelotti to have Rudiger at left back to put Nacho in and Vasquez, but it was his choice. He knew what he was doing. Maybe I mean I believe that of course if we had our usual players, the game would have probably looked different. But it's it is what it is. It would have been nice to keep being unbeaten, but it was bound to happen. So
This was a deliberate measure, I think, that was taken to kind of eliminate fatigue completely, right, Farouk? Like this was a way Carlo thought, some of the older heads can rest. People who want to recover from their injuries can recover. Blah blah blah. But it terribly backfired.
I mean, definitely, man. I mean, as I said to you guys before, like it was too much. I mean, you had like 5 shoe-in starters, not even first teamers, shoe-in starters, missing from the team. And you look to the bench and, you have people who are nameless, man, like people with no names. When, the biggest attacking threat you can provide from the bench is Eden Hazard. I mean, it says a lot, to be honest. So that's the thing, like, there was literally nothing to introduce into the team. And I felt like, maybe it's due to injuries, maybe due to resting some players or something like that. I just felt like it was too much of a stretch. And as Doris rightly pointed out, I felt like even playing Rudiger as a fullback was kind of, like being, I don't know, if
This is
coaching
not
is
the
more about
first time he has done
overconfidence,
it, though. Don Carlo, like you gotta be held responsible tonight. Unfortunately, my man, because this wasn't the first time.
I mean, it's not about it being the first time or lack thereof. It's about the balance of the team. You understand? I can understand when the team is fully, when you have your normal 11 starter or 10 starters, you can choose to
Fair point.
like throw a curveball in there. But I mean, when you are missing already 5 starters, and then adding a curveball in there as well, I know it makes things much more complicated than it should be. So it's so weird, to be honest. I felt it was a total underestimation of RB Leipzig, and we're talking about two-time European finalists, like semi-finalists, sorry, last season for the Europa League, 3 seasons ago in the Champions League. So I mean, they deserved a bit more respect than was shown to them, actually.
But they do have a reputation for crumbling under duress. But we couldn't provide them with any sort of duress,
Exactly. That's the thing. You need to provide, that pressure for them to crumble. When there is no pressure, obviously they cannot flourish.
I'm going to come to you, Jacob. Right? Leipzig is 8th in the Bundesliga. Although they are on a kind of a resurgence under Marco Rose, in the 11 games they have like 7 wins and just 2 losses. So they were somebody who were looking up. But can you explain what kind of formation was Carlo trying to put up with, especially in the first half? Well, I thought it was a 4-2-2-2. Like I don't understand how you can be that like obscure. You should have like gone with something much more traditional, where players at least know what positions to take up, where their teammates like at least like anticipate where your teammate is going to make a run. I couldn't understand it.
Yeah, for me, like Carlo took the game way less seriously than we all expected. Like for me, I was just grabbing some popcorn and then preparing for a really easy match, or even if nothing, like we lost like 3-0, like I wouldn't be that mad if we played well. But it was confusion all over the pitch today, as you pointed out. Like we couldn't really figure out what formation Carlo used, because the 4-2-2-2 that you mentioned, which 2 players are in which place, like they were swapping out all the time. And even the fullbacks, like Militao had so many forays into the opponent's half, and that caused an imbalance. So it was all over the place.
Doris had mentioned like he kind of shifted to a 4-3-3, and I was looking for a 4-3-3 in the second half, and even then it was a very disjointed 4-3-3. While attacking, it was kind of a 4-3-3. While defending, it was reverted back to the jumbled mess we saw in the first half, and then sometimes
Asensio spent a lot of time on the left side in the second half, which was really surprising, because that wasn't the space that we needed reinforcements. I think the choice of Vasquez taking up so much space up front and leaving kind of like a back 3, which I don't think. I think Ancelotti was experimenting in the end. Like it's bound to happen at some point that we're gonna miss players.
Damage limitation, Doris.
Yeah.
If you pay close attention to Vasquez's strength, he can't defend, right? He can't keep up. He can't win a 50-50 aerial battle. So there's no point in letting Vasquez kind of mark his man and defend. So
Definitely.
I think it's Carlo's decision to like just stay wide, stay high, stay wide. Provide an option.
Definitely, but the thing is that Asensio spent so much time on the left side that the right side was basically empty, and even when people were needed in the box, Asensio a lot of times wasn't there, and it was just surprising. Nothing much. It was just surprising the choice this game, the choices the players and the managers took this game.
Honestly, like some of the performances, like Asensio, like Doris kind of ripped into him, but he was at least one of the players who were like at least average and
oh yeah
kind of tried to put up a fight.
Yeah.
But before we kind of delve into our players and how they fared, we got to big up Leipzig. Although we lost to a fucking energy drink, this is completely merited. We can't take anything away from Leipzig, especially for the history they happen to mark tonight. they're the first team ever to put two past us in the first quarter of a Champions League game. I mean, you see how tall an order that is. Leipzig certainly deserved their win, especially some very standout performances. And Kuku is expected, but guys like Guardiola, Willie Orban, Simakan, like masterclasses. Although the centre backs didn't have much of a threat. Rodrigo was anonymous. I don't know where Rodrigo was. It was a complete mismatch. But yeah, like anything to add from you guys' side for Leipzig?
Yeah, like overall play, like, I can't remember how many times we pressed. We pressed really hard this time. Like we absolutely pressed their center backs, their full backs, but we never could actually win the ball back because them playing out the back was really good. Forsberg and all those guys dropping deep, they never actually lost the ball.
Too brilliant game.
Yep.
It was his like 250th or something appearance. Like Forsberg has been very very good for them. Fucking Werner, obligatory goal against us. This guy, all-time top scorer for a fucking energy drink, comes on easy tap in. The less I say, the better. But yeah, we should kind of delve into this. This is this. I do this because has become a duty of mine. Otherwise, I wouldn't even care. But I'm gonna start with you, Farouk. Thibaut, second game back in action. He looked a bit rusty, don't you think?
I mean, when you see the goals, the man was left in no man's land, and there's almost nothing he could do about that. I guess so. I wouldn't, say more about his rustiness, but I would just say, more about the stupid cocky defending from people. Like we were defending set pieces, and you're just wondering, like, what is this? Like, is it, I don't know, is it a zonal marking? Is it a man-to-man marking? It was just, it was pure garbage, man. I mean,
how the fuck? Just explain it to me, right? Since you're being a winger who can't defend to save his life, probably he can press down the wing. But how the fuck does whatever marking you're doing, right? Like zonal marking, man-to-man walking. I don't know if Carlo invented something specifically for tonight where they say, fucking marking, which was basically what Asensi was doing, covering Guardiola, a man who is twice his size. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Like, very good point. Like what can Thibaut do? But in my opinion, he could have punched the ball better. The first attempt, at least, he could have purchased a bit more, weight on it, probably.
Oh, that could be. Well, the point is that like when you see also when the ball came back, if I'm not mistaken, like Kamavinga was there, as well as I think what's it called, and also Rudiger was close by within the vicinity. Like they were just caught asleep, and that's Gavidor reacted the fastest, so that's why he was able to get an easy goal. But I can get your point that like a better reaction could have been from Courtois in the sense of punching to a more safer place. But yeah, as you say, it's just the second game back. So, and I just felt, like even though we conceded the first goal early, I just felt like it's the complimentary goal that we always concede. But like the two other goals were even much more funnier. So it was just weird as an overall performance.
Yeah, the goal scorer Guardiola is a very bright prospect. He has been on the rise for at least 2 years. I think he's Croatian. Doris, do you know much about him?
Yeah, he used to play in Dinamo. He moved to Leipzig. I I don't really follow him like that much, but he is a starter in most games now for Croatia, if I'm not wrong about that. But today was a performance from him, and especially now Dalic will probably look at him a bit more. But yeah, the defense was solid today, in contrast to ours. Sometimes having good players in the back, like world class players like Alaba, Rudiger, and Militao, maybe it's not enough if the system is not working that game. And today is just wasn't it. Everything
Shots
was.
fired. Shots fired.
No,
I mean that's
it's not a bad thing. Like it just happens.
Yeah.
It's football, you know. It happens.
I mean, that's a very valid point, Doris, because I think that the key thing why the defense looked very good is because like everything was in front of the defense. You know, for example, you could see the tackles that was made by Willie Orban. You know, like by even Gavidol himself. Like those were perfect tackles, and why are they able to make those tackles? Was because everything was right in front
Bang
of them.
on.
You
Bang
know,
on. Bang
because
on.
like that's when you're not, move
The
trying to.
one time,
Yeah.
the one time someone broke in behind, it was a goal in the first half. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
yeah,
No,
first half.
yeah, Asensio, yeah, from the Asensio one you're talking about. Yeah, it was towards the end of the first half. Yeah, Asensio broke in across free header for Vini. You're right. That's the thing. So that's the thing. Like, right to Doris's
If
point.
Benzema was there, different game. Different game.
I wouldn't go to that to be honest because I feel like it's
I'll
because
go there
even
because if
even in the
Benzema is
game
there,
I heard like the commentator from what I was watching was Steve Robson. He was actually making that, and in my mind I was like, okay, here they go again. This is a very cheap claim to make because
I mean,
without Benz
what
we've won
Robson,
games. We've won games
nobody
without
could pay
Benz.
attention to him. But I'm telling you honestly, like this might seem a very on the surface take, very uh, it is a take that doesn't require much effort. But Benzema being there completely occupies Guardiola and Villarreal, and Rodrigo and Vinny has so much more space. It is a fact. It is a fact, Farouk. Honestly, like this exact same team, like obviously not Rudiger at left back, but everything apart from that remains the same, and Benzema at striker, we might stand a better chance. But it is what it is. But yeah, Thibaut, not one of the games that he'll be looking at fondly. I'm sure.
Speaking of Thibaut,
Moving on to
Mel has
yeah.
commented saying Thibaut made some great saves, but possibly could have done better, and it hurts to even type that.
Yeah. Like there was another instance where he completely misread the situation, came barging outside his penalty box, and thank God it didn't end up in a goal or like a red card or something. But yeah, man, like I don't get heart and mouth moments when Debo is kind of walloping outside his box and stuff. Like he's very assured about what he's doing, but tonight he looked a little rusty, and like it is completely normal. He has been missing in action. But moving on to the guy who started at left back, Rudiger. Jacob.
Well, that experiment didn't last that long, did it?
20 minutes. Lasted 20 minutes.
Well, initially, Rudiger did make some good forward passes for Vinny and to many, and but then our defense was just left out to dry with just Nacho over there. And when Nacho shifted over to left back, it was a much more balanced back four. But still wasn't perfect, but it is what it is.
Farouk had some strong stuff to say about Rudiger. Do you agree with Jacob or?
I mean, for Rudiger, as I said, like the thing was in the third goal. While we considered the third goal, like the guys, I mean, Werner was at the back post, tapping into the post, and Rudiger was at the halfway line in the midfield. Like, you're a fucking CB, man. You're not even a RB, man. You're a fucking CB, man. You're not an RB, you're not an LB, man. You're a fucking center back. You should be there. Where are you? No man's land, So he was just, Militao was left to fend for himself. And similarly, again, like, there's nothing Thibaut could do about that. And as you said, the customary Werner goal was a poacher's finish, just deceive the defender one way, go the other way, empty net tapping. But where is other center back, man? He went just. I mean, that's the thing to be honest.
Farouk,
Like, they're
I feel like
overlapping center backs.
Yeah, the reason I feel like Rudiger went that far forward was because Alaba got the ball, right? He got the ball pretty early on, and then Rudiger might have felt like, oh shit, I can score a similar to goal to what I had against Shakhtar, and then bomb the box or something. Feel like Alaba had a really bad loss of possession there, and it was a
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I mean, that's the point. Like, you shouldn't be getting caught out in this kind of situations. To be honest, like we are getting caught out, and like you literally have maybe one of the fastest strikers in the world in Timo Werner, man.
The bigger blame should rest at the feet of Alaba for the goal, for sure.
For the goal, I would say, yeah, obviously he missed the ball. That's it. But that's the point. Like, the point is, we're gonna lose passes. That's the thing. You have to defend as a team. if he's there, my point is this: why is he not tracking back? Why is he not running back? Rudiger is a
He
fast
knows.
player. He's not slow.
I think like
Rudiger
me,
is
he
not
knows it
slow.
before.
Rudiger
I
is
think
not
he
slow.
knows.
Rudiger is a fast player. He just because the point is the ball
Yeah.
was to Simikan and then Simikan and then I mean if it was to Werner directly, I know for sure Rudiger has no chance in hell. I get that. But I mean, before Simikan went down the line, before he, crossed the ball back for the empty post back in, tapping, sorry, I felt like Rudiger should have done better in my opinion. Like, he shouldn't be caught out in no man's land, to be honest.
Fair point, fair assessment. Not one of his better games. But Nacho, Doris.
Not really his like best game. Probably the worst center back today, but that doesn't say that he's been bad this season or something. Again, just the system today just wasn't it. Players were playing out of position a lot, like it happened a lot, and players got caught way too many times. Militao at some points was slower than I would have expected him to be. Not uh, at a few times I expected him that he would outrun his opponent for through balls. I don't remember who he was against, but I'm just saying that at some point he didn't show the class he usually has and the speed he usually has. And Nacho at some points, like you could see that he was a bit rusted today. Maybe not for a starter, but you know, it happens. It
Yeah,
wasn't his game today.
he hasn't played many minutes. Like it's understandable.
No.
But like an interesting thing. I think a couple of days ago he was awarded by I think some sort of press or media or a paper in Spain um, for contributions to Real Madrid since 2001. So this was
Yeah.
supposed to
So
be a crowning moment for Nacho. Like one of our stalwarts, academy product. But it wasn't supposed to be wearing the captain's armband. I expected so much more from Nacho. Just wasn't his night.
And it wasn't just about the defending, like all of the clearances, like none of them made it to the midfielders or to the wingers. Like it was all intercepted by Leipzig players, and that led to a lot of dangerous opportunities for them.
It was a mess, man. Honestly, like I don't understand like how you can be so lackluster. But yeah, Militao, he was at least a tad better, right, Jacob?
Absolutely, like he did have a good physical battle with those forwards. He did have a lot of bombing runs forward. He played forward passes, and he was calm in possession at least compared to the other defenders, especially Nacho. But even he, like some of his clearances weren't good in the first half, especially during that moment where Leipzig, those 10 minutes, man, like I shit my pants. It was really hard to watch because we were giving the ball away so much, and it was always transition opportunities for them. It was only at those moments that I felt Militao floundered a bit, but apart from that, he has a pretty solid game. He did what he could.
yeah.
Militao arguably had the worst job on the field. He had to mark Nkunku, bro. Not easy, not easy. Nkunku, once he gets going, bro, impossible to stop. He's Chelsea bound. We were linked with him. I would have loved to have gotten him, but it is what it is. Probably, like we might meet sometime later in his career. But yeah, what a player! What a player! You put 2-man, 3-man, 4-man on Nkunku, and if he's on it on a particular night, I think there's no chance stopping him. But yeah, our right back, Lucas Vasquez, Torres.
Yeah, you could probably see from my critiques today he was probably the biggest reason something's happened, but it's not his fault because the system that we played up front didn't suit what was needed in this game for the defense. I think that Carvajal would have done a better job this game, just because we needed the solidity on the right side because we didn't have Valverde who would have covered, for Vasquez, because maybe Valverde is the biggest player that we missed today. I would say even more than Benzema, and it could because he influences a lot more on the pitch. And today, in my opinion, the right side just wasn't clicking, and it's not Vasquez just Vasquez's fault in particular, but I think he could be one of the players that I would mention for tonight. But apart from that, he got a yellow, which was expected at some point in the game. He's gonna get caught, you know. But all in all, when Carvajal came on, I don't think it helped that much. I think they even scored.
It was better. It was better though.
Yeah, definitely. Especially up front, which was supposed to be, Vasquez was supposed to be better at that part. But, it wasn't clicking with everyone, And I'm not sure if they scored before or after Danny came on. Remember? Wait, I can check.
The third goal,
The third
obviously
goal
after he
it was after Carvajal came on. The third goal was after Carvajal.
Yeah, so you cannot, put it on one player. It's not
And that's the thing. Like
Lucas' fault.
I have something to ask to Farouk basically. Yeah. So, see, there is two scenarios. I know you are like Liverpool is like your guilty pleasure. So I'm gonna pose you this question. Right. Get ready. Um, Tonight, Carlo just decided to rest a few players and put up a lineup and a formation that complements the players available for selection and the players he had in his mind to carry out his, can you call this a game plan? His game plan tonight. So his formation was tailored to the player. But sometimes you see Klopp has always been aimed with criticism regarding his very, very rigid 4-3-3 gung ho thing, even when they don't have the personnel at the moment. So if you like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So this is a situation where it's a clear double-edged sword for the managers. So just being in Carlo's shoes, Farouk, like what would have you done for tonight?
I mean, for starters, I wouldn't play Rudiger as a left back.
No. I'm just asking you, like, would it have been the traditional 4-3-3 that we play week in, week out, so that at least the players are familiar, with what is going on? Or like what he did, do that and, like let it backfire.
So that's the thing. Like, to be honest, like although we play a 4-3-3, we don't have I would like to say we don't have a system like you just pointed out, like with Klopp's 4-3-3 formation or something like that. We don't have such a system. You understand? So because of this, I wouldn't say like I would go with what I am used to, because what I used to already, you're not used to anything. I will just play based on the strength of the players that I have, which is what Carlo has done to perfection so far.
How can you say that we don't have any tactics, man? Like I wouldn't say we are.
No, I'm not saying we don't have any tactics. I'm saying we don't have any system in place. We don't have a Conte's system. We don't have a Guardiola system. We don't have a Pep system. We play to the fitting to the strength of the players we have at certain. Okay, so what's our tactic? What's our ideology then? What ideology?
Or when our Gala 11 plays, when our A team plays, it's a clear 4-3-3, especially in big games where Valverde is the guy helping out.
Dude, you're talking about 4-3-3 is a formation. I'm talking about an ideology. For example, the
Ideology is basically what you see with your eyes, right? Like we let the bigger teams or the better teams, like compared to us on paper, have the ball more often. We have a conservative press. Benzema leads the press. The midfielders doesn't get involved much in the pressing, but the wing backs, pushes up high. They are, like, I mean, that is as much as I can, like say off the top of my head. But like obviously you shouldn't expect Klopp or Guardiola tactics, but we do have a system, Farouk, if you like, whether you like it or not, like we do have a system.
Okay, maybe I can explain our system somewhat. So if you notice other teams, a lot of them like to flood the box and play those hold positions. So between the center back and the left back, what we do tends not to be that. We have a lot of players behind the opposition, so they can't really press us. This happened with El Clasico as well. So we don't occupy those central positions, or maybe there's one player handling the position, but mostly it's unoccupied. So teams have no way of actually pressuring us. So that's how we play out of the back, and then we rely on these ball carriers like Valverde and Vinicius to progress the ball through the wing, and then we basically make a cutback or smart 1-2 with Benzema or Rodrigo, and we're in. So that's basically our system. It's overloading the wings, making sure we are press resistant in our build-up phase. Yeah, there isn't a word for it yet, but maybe Carlo Ball is a word.
Yeah, the expert has spoken. Thank you, Jacob.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's not a system. This is just building, adapting to the strengths of your players. This is the thing. Even Carlos said this last year. He said, "I don't have a system. Why would I have a system? I play my players."
Yeah,
this is the whole point. That's the thing.
But Farouk, it is a good, like you should at least agree that it is flexible. Like you wouldn't go down the path that Klopp is now going.
Did I say so? This is the whole basis of my argument. I'm saying to you here that this man is a flexible man. This is what has won him what he has.
So that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Right? That's it. That's not it. The point is this. The point is this. Chill. Okay. The point is this. When Conte came to the Premier League, why was he considered as a revolutionist in the Premier League? Because Conte, if you could recall, I don't know if you remember, there was a game where Ozil made N'Golo Kante go back to France. That game, Kante suffered more than I've ever seen in his life. What happened with Conte? Conte went back to the training ground and started what they call automations, whereby the players, even in their dreams, know what is going to happen on the pitch because they repeat it over and over and over and over and over. It doesn't matter if you're Ruben Loftus-Cheek, it doesn't matter if you're Kante, it doesn't matter even if you're Billy Gilmore from the academy. You understand? You know this over and over till you master it and memorize it in your mind. Irrespective of who the opposition is, irrespective of what you're facing, you have to repeat this. You understand? This is what I'm saying. If this is the case, if like Carlo had done this with all his players, then he will stick to that same thing over and over again. But what is the point of changing a system where players already memorize what they need to do in the game? Then you're trying to go around. Actually, that's what's happening with Liverpool right now. They're not playing a 4-3-3. They're playing a 4-5-1. That's the team.
4-2-3-1.
Exactly. They're playing a 4-2-3-1. You understand? So that's what's happening with Liverpool right now. They are stuck in two systems. They don't know what to do. Should we play this? Should we play that? So that's the thing. Actually, that's one of the issues that is there.
But I've told you time and time again. Like I understand like some managers' dedication towards like making their team basically play to the T. But like in your own opinion, you yourself know that like such rigorous brain drilling can basically completely exhaust an entire roster. Like entire squad would be completely depleted on morale, on energy.
That's the thing. You're speaking from a point of privilege here, for example. That's the thing. What you should understand here is this. When Klopp went to Liverpool, he was considered as a god. Literally, Man City placed everything in place so that Pep comes to them. The star of Man City is not Haaland, it's not KDB, it's Pep fucking Guardiola. The star of Liverpool is Jurgen Klopp. So it's about them, it's not about the players. Everyone knows here today that once Pep leaves City, City is going to suffer because why? They built everything for Pep. Once Klopp leaves Liverpool, Liverpool are gonna suffer because why they built
I'm
everything
happy,
from
you know,
top.
my club
You
doesn't bow
understand?
down to one
So
single
that's the
individual.
thing. That's the thing.
I'm
You
happy.
can,
I'm
I
happy.
mean, as I said to you in the chat, there are thousands of ways to achieve success. You understand? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because you do it this way doesn't mean it's the only right way, or because he does it this way doesn't mean you do it
But
wrongly.
there is a romanticism even in the way you speak, right? Like that is
Definitely,
what
definitely. Oh, do you know how much I fell in love with Conte when he came to Chelsea and his automations? Holy shit, man! What are you
I
talking about?
respect it. I
When
respect it.
I
But
mean,
we at the
I mean,
back, terrace football.
Sunaid, there was a trademark City goal whereby Raheem Sterling taps in. You know what they're gonna do. I knew that. Even I'm not a tactician. I knew that. But they were doing it to every single team in the
Every
world.
single team,
In the
every match
world,
week,
every
match day.
week. They were. I mean, that's the thing, man. I mean, the point is not about I know your tactics. No, I will give you my tactics. This is my tactics. This is my cheat sheet. Know it. But I'm telling you that I am better than you and I'm gonna do this to you, even though you know this. This is the whole
Yeah.
point of it. I mean, that was the aura that Vinicius was playing at the beginning of the season. He was like,
Mm,
what can you do to me? I'm better than you. Yeah, come. What can you do?
mm.
That's the whole point of it.
Well, that is getting to his head, but yeah, we'll get to Vinny. We'll get to Vinny. I have some stuff to say about Vinny, but let's move on to the midfielders. I don't think we had a conclusion about the discussion we basically started, Farouk, but I guess, you know, Carlo had to adapt. But in my opinion, he should have gone with a 4-3-3 and, you know, like hope for the best. It would have been a better display than tonight, at least. You know, that's what I believe. But moving into the midfield, Tony Cruz, uncharacteristic Tony Cruz wasn't himself tonight, you know, in my opinion. But Farouk, I'm gonna come back to you again.
To be honest, man, like I have said, like, Tony Cross is out to make every single of you guys who need FC clubs eat your words, you know. But to be honest, like even today, I knew like the man was just below it. To be honest, and I think he's in need of a rest, man, because I think he's played almost every game, man. To be honest, and but yeah, today, I mean, when the man cannot make even 10 yard passes, you know that shit has hit the fan, man. Like I mean, this is the fucking German sniper, man.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna be fuck, man. The more I say it, I'm becoming this Jurgen Suned. You know, like the pitch was shite, man. I don't know why I have to say this every week now. This has almost become like the
Yo,
thing where
Sunay,
people have lost their legs.
the pitch at the Bernabeu is even worse than this, man. So I mean,
I know. But yeah, the pitch tonight wasn't good. I don't know what the fuck they did with it. Even on the camera, you could see it wasn't properly cut. But anyway, it is what it is. But Cruz, in my opinion, didn't have a good game.
at all,
He
man.
looked lost. He
It
looked lost.
was a bad
You know,
one.
like he
And
looked lost.
there's someone in the chat. You all know Mr. Rahul, the Atletico fan. So he says Opa Atletico,
Oh, okay.
and he's basically laughing at us, saying Madrid and will Don Carlo get sacked? He's just having fun out there.
Well, this is small victories, you know, that Atleti fans can have and relish and cherish. Well,
I mean,
drink
I
it
mean,
in, Rahul, drink it in.
Enough
exactly,
said.
man.
Yeah.
Raul can get this, man. I mean, the man has been, sitting down and watching, losing to literally every single person that's alive. So I mean, he can take this. We give you this is for you, Raul, man. I mean, you're a very loyal fan. So we just, we texted the Kamavingers and likes just, to flop this game so at least you can be happy for one night or one evening, depending on wherever you are.
Atleti, where are Atleti, man? I'm completely aloof about them. They
They're
were in the
sixth or
same
seventh.
group as,
Oh, in the
no,
UCL.
not in La Liga, but in Champions League.
Well, Atletico are third under Porto and Club Brugge.
Hmm. First, top the group with clubs like Brugge and like Porto, bro, and then yep. But Chouameni, I thought he had a good game. Was the best midfielder in my opinion on the pitch. Doris, do you still think that Chouameni is completely worth the 80 million? And on occasions when we have a bad game, he quietly has a decent game himself.
He was okay
He was nothing
today.
special. I'm not saying
Yeah.
nobody was special tonight. Nobody was special.
Yeah. Well, I actually thought about what would have happened if Casemiro played today, instead of Germany. What would the game, look like? But it's you can only imagine, you know. But Tchouaméni, I think, had an all right game. It wasn't, you know, anything special. But if you ask for the future, if I think he's worth it, I think he is. You know, I think in the future he will show us that you know, he is only 19. You know, and
22.
it's a big. It's big.
22, 20,
23 or
21.
22?
22.
Yeah.
Tchouaméni is 22.
Really?
Camavinga is 19.
Oh,
Camavinga is 19.
right, sorry. But still, you know, he's
He's
a
young.
young
He's young.
player, you know. He's a young player, and you know, he will show us in the future that
I'm
he still has a lot to prove, and you know, we are expecting from him, you know, to replace Casemiro just like that. You know, it is his first time playing for us, you know, and we shouldn't be too critical of him, especially when this is not the
very
game
satisfied. I
where
always
he
recall.
deserves it. Yeah.
I always recall that I don't cuss at Tchouaméni much. He does have some kind of solidity in his performances, even when others around him are slackened. But
No, but
yeah,
guys,
Tchouaméni,
wasn't he at fault for the second goal? Like
It's
it passed through his
22.
yeah,
legs.
he was. He could have closed him down way quickly, way more aggressively. Like I think kind of backed off. Um, who was it? Just can't seem to recall now, Jacob. Like who was he trying to?
So it might have been
Was it?
Forsberg. I'm not sure. But it definitely went through his legs and fell to Nkunku.
Oh, the Nkunku shot, man. Fucking hell.
No chance.
What can you do? What can you do? Brilliant finish. Um, yeah, but also like the reason why I'm kind of little quick about running through the player ratings, player reactions is because tonight I want to react to what Carlos said in the press conference. I hope Madrid Extra would have the quotes and stuff, but yeah, quickly on to Kamavinga, Farouk.
Yeah, man. To be honest, I felt it was a very poor game from Camavinga. Like he was so careless in possession. He was, to be honest, really careless, losing even miscontrols over here and there. So to be honest, and I think actually Sunaid made a very valid point before we started recording, and he was saying like the problem with Camavinga is that when he's put under pressure, his reaction is very slow. Like he is very slow to react. He's someone who will drive forward, who will attack. But once he's attacked, he has a very slow reaction to that. And to be honest,
I thought he was the sole shining light in the first half. Sole guy who had some sort of apart from Asensio obviously, but Kamavinga I think looked pretty okay in the first half, but I don't know what the fuck happened in the second half. He completely lost that confidence. It's very unlike him this season. Very
yeah,
unlike Kamavinga. I
exactly.
expected a very steady upward trajectory. It has completely, been flatlining.
Yeah.
I expect so much of Kamavinga. Now I'm inclined with moving along with Farouk and like detach myself from the fucking hype. These guys needs to wake up, man. Come on.
Yeah,
Hype out.
I mean, the thing now becomes is, making that shift from being, an impact player to being, a full-time 90-minute, performer is quite a huge gap. And to be honest, like, while people would like to make the comparison between Camavinga and Chouameni, like, there's a huge difference there. Like Chouameni is a seasoned player who, is also a permanent member of the French national team, and what he knows has experience, playing in Europe, and what is not. But Camavinga, came on the back of Rennes, and even towards the end of his time as Rennes, he wasn't even a full-fledged starter. He came to us an impact player, and now you're trusting him into the starting always and always. So I think maybe it will take a bit of time for him to make that jump, from being, that impact player to being a full-time 90-minute player as well. So maybe it just needs a bit of time. But I mean, the player has shown us that there is something there, which is what I've always wanted. Like, show me that there is something there, and I'll be patient. We saw with Valverde, he showed us that there was something there on the Zidane. And towards the end of last season and this season, he just kicked on to the next level. So that's the thing. Like, once we know that there is something there, I believe that with time we will eventually get to see the best of Camavinga as well. But tonight it was just a stinker from him, to be honest, in my opinion.
Hmm. Well, yeah, Jacob, like I remember you having something to say about Kamavinga. You share the same sentiment as Farouk, Jacob.
Well, I agree with Q on the first half. Like he had a really good couple of great runs actually, and then he released the ball at the right moment as well. But in the second half, he was
He completely lost his footing. I remember he bet like two players towards the right
Mhm.
side of the penalty box, and he
Yeah, yeah.
completely lost his footing.
Yeah, like he was slipping over on that pitch side as well. Like in the first half, he played a bit on the left, but on the second half, he played a bit on the right. Maybe the pitch contributed, or like something got into his head. He just ran around like a headless chicken, and he didn't help out in defense at all. Like, if you, okay, let's take this. Like any midfielder, if you don't have a good game or if you are misplacing simple passes, at least come back and defend on and help
Yeah,
out the defense.
come
And
back into position. That's one thing. There's one thing Kamavinga, whenever I've noticed, obviously his overall performance kind of made me kind of blindfolded me, and I couldn't pay attention. But tonight, since the magnifying glasses were out and we were, the spotlight was on everybody, you could clearly see Kamavinga has this reluctance to get back into position.
and
That's basics.
and it just doesn't make sense. Like he is one of the most players with a like really good stamina. He is really quick. He can make it back to defense,
Mm.
but he just chose not to.
Is it a tactical instruction, like don't uh don't bother about tracking back and defending as much. We have people there, save your energy for incisive runs, penetrating runs, through midfield. I don't know, but Kamavinga, I expect so much more. If Chouameni can straight up walk in and earn a starting position, Kamavinga, who has been here for over a year, has been integral in some of the most important games last season. Although as a substitute, we expect so much more from Kamavinga. Um, yeah, big man, big occasion. We were without Benzema. He was supposed to be the talisman. He scored a goal, very good header, brilliant positioning. But from minute 1 to 90, Vinicius wine fest, and that is not WINE, which would have been great, but it's WHINE. This guy has to stop whining. I mean, I don't understand where he gets this from. Is it from the Neymar influence, like we have discussed so many times before? Is it from ego that he is suddenly turning out to be fucking Luis Figo? He has gotten nowhere, nowhere, like, come on, man. Vinicius, there's a World Cup coming up. Like, I rely on him, to finally see Brazil lift a fucking World Cup after God knows how long. And he is basically the guy to throw in the towel when the going gets tough. And it's completely unlike Vinny, who used to be the guy who wasn't phased by the occasion, phased by an obstacle. But tonight, every single push or shove he got, he basically started throwing his hands in the air and requesting the ref to award him a foul. Or I don't understand, like, so many times he lost the ball in like such dangerous positions. I couldn't imagine like seeing Vinny like this, especially after the blistering start he had to this season. um I will come to you, Doris. Like, did you expect, like, did you expect me to be like this, even in a game where he scored? Like, can you score a goal, be kind of impactful, and still be shit? That's my question.
Yeah, it's not the first time it happens in football that the players score and still don't play so well. We need to mention how well Leipzig defense was set up. They barely gave out any free kicks, which Vinicius is the kind of player, obviously, that he tries to go for those kind of fouls in dangerous places, but uh, like we talked in multiple episodes now, it's getting pretty stale and pretty annoying. you know, the constant whining and just putting your hands up and asking for fouls constantly, it makes the referee not want to give you the most simple fouls that should have been given to you because you're whining, which affects the team, and if I remember correctly, at some point he was expecting to get fouled and just put his hands up and stopped running, which if that
Like
happened to
Cristiano, it reminded me of
if that
Cristiano, bro.
happened
You
to
know
someone
Cristiano.
else, everyone would be talking about it and it would be in all
You're not
news now.
Cristiano, bro.
Yeah.
Wake up.
And that irked me a bit, and I knew we were gonna mention that about him because I'm hoping that at least he lowers it down, or just learns how to be better at it. Because if he compensated at other places on the pitch, maybe, but his dribbling wasn't on point today. Many times he tried to let the ball pass him, like do those finds, and it's just they had him closed down like
There was
very
an
well,
instance.
and
There was an instance
he
where go on, go
he
on, go on.
needed to choose a different approach of a different style of football, instead of doing those kind of finds where he wasn't outrunning people that many times, he he should have went for a more more passing football, in my opinion, because it obviously wasn't working for him today. His dribbling, his running, nothing was.
There was an instance, I think it was in the second half itself, where I've seen this so many times this season that it wasn't a surprise. Earlier, the shit version of Vinny, this isn't the shit version of Vinny. The alpha version of Vinny, basically, when he bet a couple of defenders, found some space, edge of the box, he would at least try to win a foul, A, or B, hit a hopeful shot, which used to be terrible. And we used to tell him, come on, improve on your finishing. Well, now he has slightly improved his finishing. But with that has, I think it has come to a point where he kind of second guesses what to do.
Mm.
I've seen this even in La Liga, but tonight, that one instance where he bet a couple of defenders and he's basically waiting. Come on, man. Take the ball off me. He's basically giving 5 seconds for Guardiola to think, oh shit, Vinicius has 5 yards in the penalty box. I'm going to slide. So, all throughout that, he's basically sleepwalking. I don't understand this. I think it is purely a case of ego. This is not me gaslighting Vinny, or just saying skating stuff about him for the sake of it. I want this guy to be the very best. Like, if you want to end up like fucking Ziyech, this is where you should be going. But at our club, we expect so much more. Like, Vinicius, come on, man, you should be the guy that people should be looking up to, honestly. And this is just unacceptable. Farouk, like, if you have something to say about Vinicius tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have said it all. To be honest, like it's a very bad path, that he's treading. But one thing I also like to point here is like I think Vinicius also has played so much, to be honest, and I think
Rest.
the
He
rest.
needs rest.
I
I
mean,
get it.
he needs to get down, sit down, and recharge his batteries because he's also gonna go to the World Cup where he's gonna be a shoo-in starter as well. And hopefully, if Brazil do well, it's gonna be a lot of minutes for him as well. So I think you also have to consider the fatigue in as well. So I think it might be time to rest Vini and see what happens to him after he recharges batteries as well. So maybe that might be something also.
Jacob, is it just fatigue, or is it just clearly he has this ego and air about him now?
Yeah, he just tries these outrageous things that you see from, like, it's easy for us to observe and say, hey, the trick probably won't work for the second time, but he just keeps attempting those, thinking the defender can't get to it, and you know it hasn't been that great of a look in the past few games. But what worried me about this match was like speaking to his fatigue. Like even when he got through on the ball on certain occasions where Cruz passed the ball, or maybe he got through right a couple of times, but he still couldn't open his legs up and beat the defender by pace. They were always in his back, so I feel like fatigue did play a part there because he couldn't get that extra bit of pace, that X factor to get through the defender.
And like, if you watch Vinny, there is a spring in his step whenever he attempts to accelerate. It wasn't there. I think I haven't seen that in a couple of weeks now from Vinicius. Like I think it's completely, he has completely been gassed. But yeah, this is the over reliance on the left wing and obviously Benzema. They are our two talisman at this point. We rely on them, unfortunately. But yeah, I said all this about Vinny. Like before I kind of move on from him, I need to give him this much, that he does his defensive duties quite well. He is someone who is willing to defend. I'll give him that. At least he does that. I think that is the only thing that kind of saves his saves his face basically. But um, moving on to the guy who played down the middle, Rodrigo, anonymous, invisible. Like couple of neat tricks here and there, one brilliant back heel for Vinny who got through. I think that was the chance he got through. Remember, he got through and Guardiola tackled him. I think that was the instance that I was mentioning about Vinny earlier. But apart from that, he is my guy. Rodrigo is the guy I relate to most in our team. I wanted him to, do well, bag a good hat trick, and like come back home. But no, was asking for too much apparently. Jacob, your take on Rodrigo tonight?
Well, the thing with Rodrigo is like he has these moments in the game, right? He can release that player forward. He can take on a shot. He did get into. He worked like his position to get a shot on his own a couple of times, but you can expect that from him as a baseline. So he isn't that horrible. But for the rest of the play, he was basically playing on the halfway circle and on the wing basically as a left back position next to Tuameni, and that was really annoying to see because we needed someone up top.
So many occasions where our wing backs were basically high up the field and looked for someone to cross the ball to. Everybody was outside the penalty box. I don't understand. Even Benzema does this, but it's Benzema. But Rodrigo, come on, man. Like we know that you are not a physical presence. You are not, but you have a very good leap on you. You have a very fucking good leap. So at least like go in there, like create a problem. Give them something to think about, right? Like give them at least something to think about. But yeah, man, honestly, Rodrigo, in my opinion, one of the worst players on the pitch. Did
I mean,
nothing.
dude, he did win the penalty, but the game was already done
Oh
by
yeah,
then.
which I didn't see.
Oh,
Honestly, I wouldn't care at this point. I didn't see what happened with the pen. I wanted to kind of address that as well. Can you just run me through like how was the penalty or what? Because I switched off the TV. Honestly.
yeah, right point at the game to switch off the TV, but it was a corner, and then Rodrigo got the second ball, and then he tried to dribble past. He got past the first left back, and then he tried to dribble past Nkunku. And Nkunku stuck a leg in there, and then there was a tangle of legs. Rodrigo fell down. It was clear penalty. The referee didn't see it initially, but the linesman pointed it out, and it was a clear penalty.
I saw the pen. He is a really good penalty taker. I mean, good pen. But come on, man, Rodrigo. When I see you start, I expect you to make a difference and be the guy who drags us over the line. Honestly, I don't want you to end up being Asensio. Come on, Rodrigo. Time to step up. But right wing slash midfielder Asensio, I think, are better, best player. Tonight on the pitch. Farouk.
Yeah, man, he was, to be honest. I actually was reading something after the game. Like, he created 3 chances, which was the highest in the game. But on the downside, also, he didn't win any duels in the whole of the game as well. So that's also that. So, like, Even, to be fair, like at first at the start of the game, as you guys point out, like there was a very weird kind of period where Asensio, was he a false nine? Was he a midfielder? What was he doing? And he wasn't
Left
really
wing was the right wing.
exactly. So it was kind of weird. But once he switched over to the right wing, like it kind of gained a bit more stability for Marco Asensio. And I think
Brilliant turn of pace, brilliant acceleration to get away from like
yeah,
a couple
yeah,
of
yeah.
them and whip in the cross, like for the goal, for the only goal. Um, see, all when all the dust settles down, I want to know what the people that were crying out, like Asensio, turn him into a midfielder. Yeah, Carlo deployed him at midfield, in the game against Mallorca where he grabbed the hat trick last year, blah blah blah. But come on, man, like all those people who think that he can work as a midfielder at this level against quality opposition, I need to know what you guys know. Honestly, he can't. He can't. Like he might have the skills to get away from people, find a neat couple of passes, but he can't defend. He can't defend. It's a completely different prospect defending out wide and defending in the middle. Two different. But yeah, Sensio. Anything to add, Doris?
Not much. I don't think that he played badly. I think you misunderstood me before. I just think his
No. I didn't.
positioning at some points well
I didn't
wasn't
slander
it,
him
and
for coming off. Yeah.
late in second half he was even at left back for some unknown
Yeah. I
reason.
remember.
Yeah. But again, not his fault. All players were in this, but I would like
But
to
that willingness,
mention.
to be a team guy, I like it. I like it. He's pulling his weight. Finally,
Yeah, he is, and I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm happy with his performance, but I don't think he played badly. But I would like to say that if we hadn't missed some chances that we had, like Rodrigo had a really good chance that we always talk about how if Rodrigo was in that same place that Vinicius always is, where he's faster than everyone else is, and like
I know that sounds
one on
when
ones and
basically
stuff like that with the
but
goalkeepers.
he was already being pushed out wide to the left.
Yeah. But I mean, he also had a choice of going near post or far post, where in retrospect, if you look at it like this, maybe he could, but it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, if we had scored some of these chances, maybe we wouldn't talk about this right now, because uh, there was a lack of finishing. Vinicius also had a pretty good volley that was on goal. The goalkeeper saved it, so that's also worth mentioning. Because it's always, if it was like a centimeter there or centimeter there, but it's football. It happens, and I think that this whole game was just a little blimp, but nothing to worry about, really.
Well, that is optimism for one. I'm not an optimist,
Nah,
unfortunately, but
you never were, huh?
no. But like, should we talk about the subs? I don't know. Guys who came on fucking shambolic. Alaba left back needs to be done here. This match day should be the end of talks about Alaba left back. Come on, he used to be a left back when he was a budding teenager, or like even through his early 20s, mid 20s, he was okay at left back. But there was a reason why at Bayern he was, shifted over from left back to centre back. He can't cope. Unfortunately, he can't cope. Do you guys agree with my sentiment? That's just my opinion, but like, what do you guys think?
I think they're misplaced in my opinion. I think it depends on the opposition you're facing, to be honest. I feel like today's game was like a typical Ferland Mendy game in my opinion. Like it was, where
Mhm.
the defensive nous, comes into play, like when you need more of us, us to defending. I feel
Mm.
like when we play in La Liga, we play against 10-man wall. So I feel like in those games, I mean, at least in 50% of the games we play in La Liga, it's just it's a 10-0-0 formation. So I think in those games you need David Alba to just add as an extra outlet there on the left instead of Ferland Mendy. So I think it's just a matter of game to game. But I mean, I get your point when you mean like when there's a game on the line, do you want to play David
No,
Alba
but
left back
see,
or
I understand the application in certain games, but people were calling for Mendy to be dropped. Like who is arguably our best defender. Mendy to
yeah,
be
I
dropped.
mean the discussion about that is because like people don't want to throw out who would they throw to to fit Rudiger into the team because everyone just has the idea in their mind that if we play Rudiger we will stop conceding from set piece. But I'm willing to bet everything I own that you play Rudiger tomorrow, you still concede from set piece. You play even fucking Franco Baresi, man, you will still concede from set piece. That's just it, man. You are gonna concede from set piece, just accept it and move on with that. Like we have a certain obsession there, but that's the thing. Like I understand the sentiments, but yeah, man. To be honest, Ferland Mendy doesn't get enough credit. I also am guilty of that, to be honest. But
Put some respect. Put some respect on Franco Baresi. That man shouldn't be mentioned the same vein as Rudiger. But
I'm not
anyway,
saying I'm. I
yeah,
get you.
that's
I get you,
that's
man. I
another
get.
conversation.
I get you.
Also, big up Milan, 4-0 thumping. Dinamo Zagreb sent packing. All that hype about Zagreb winning at Chelsea. Boom, done. They still have a chance to qualify to the knockouts. Yeah, big up Milan. But moving on to the other subs, Carvajal was okay, slight upgrade over maybe Vasquez. You could call it if you wanted. Who else can we say that did something of note? Is there anybody that provided a difference? No. Well, then that is it. That is it basically. Any thoughts on Carlo? Well, we could dive into his thoughts, dive into giving opinion on him. Like we'll just go through his presser quickly. Um, so he apparently said this defeat hurts, but not so much. We still can qualify as first. It was obvious that sooner or later we would have lost a game. It happens. No shit, Carlo. No shit. He said Thibaut said we played without intensity. That's his opinion. Oh, shots fired! Shots fired. Thibaut apparently said we played without intensity. Carlo, bro, you gotta admit, like we didn't have any sort of intensity or rhythm. Like what did we do? Especially in the first half, outplayed for like 40 minutes. We had like maybe 5 minutes of like good, meaningful possession. 5 minutes.
Exactly, like
Um,
that's the whole point, right? So that's the thing. To be honest,
um,
I feel like Thibaut Courtois has a very valid point about the lack of intensity there. To be honest, like there was total lack of application from the whole team, and obviously, like the coach wouldn't come and throw these players on, especially a coach like Carlo wouldn't come and say, "Oh yes, the boys, they didn't apply themselves and all that." He wouldn't say that, like he's a very very good manager and he's gonna protect his players. So I mean, it's a common thing to say, but like Thibaut was totally 100% spot on. He was a total lack of application from our players, to be honest.
yeah, obviously that was a diplomatic answer, but come on, man, Ancelotti, you gotta be blunt. But Leipzig, he said Leipzig played the way they wanted. We had our chances, but it didn't end well. I can't say anything more. Well, he's just keeping it at a buck. That's
Yeah.
good to know. If we miss the injured players, of course we had absences tonight. The players who were in Madrid couldn't play, obviously. I mean, yeah. Pivo said we went out on the pitch asleep without intensity or aggressiveness. We have failed many passes, controls, and it has not been a good game.
I mean, this comment could have been directed to Tony Kroos, to be honest. I swear. Like, I mean, yeah, because that was the thing, man. Like, the man was like as if he wasn't focused. To be honest, I mean, obviously last season Tony Kroos was at his best, but I mean, today he was like a shadow of himself, man. Like, he was totally zoned out, man. I don't know if he was thinking about this podcast with his brother or something like that. I don't know.
Probably. That seemed like a much more interesting proposition. I think
Exactly.
his brother might be not far away as well. From
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
We should ask Yadu about the map and settings.
Exactly, yeah.
But Thibaut, as a goalkeeper, I noticed we were out not in the game. He can see the entire fucking pitch, like a 7-foot guy. Makes
Exactly.
sense. He's the fucking
Exactly.
CCTV. But yeah, we lost many duels due to lack of intensity. There are other players on the bench. If you can't, I don't understand. Leipzig players were better in the counter attack, faster in the counter attacks. If we were more precise, we would get into the game, but it didn't happen. Our defense wasn't good. Well,
Actually, as a support to Tivo, so like I saw a stat that says like we lost 38% of our duels contested today. Sorry, we won just
yeah,
we won,
every 50,
we won just 38 exactly. We won just 38%, which is the lowest since March 2019. And the more interesting thing now becomes this: Eder Militao won just 2 duels in the whole of 90 minutes.
Pretty sure he at least had a few interceptions.
I mean, it was a totally. I mean, to be honest, it was a total like.
You see this? We were lucky to escape with a 3-2. Lucky.
I mean, exactly. 3-2 is a very flattering result, to be honest. I mean, a 3-1 would have been a fair reflection of the game. But I mean, a 3-2. It was a very stupid challenge by Nkunku, to be honest, for the penalty on Rodrigo. But it is what it is, man. We will take anything.
Well, Girona up next, away, I think, on Sunday or Saturday. I'm not sure. But yeah, we need to get back. I'm pretty sure, even though it was a meaningless goal, at least the Rodrigo goal would have given our team something to take back home from Germany. And I think, we wouldn't be too fast. But like Javier mentioned in the group chat that we need to win against Celtic at home, which I think will be a very straightforward, I hope, Carlo doesn't do stuff like this, next week, but I think we should be comfortably winning. If we were to drop down to second from this position, may God save us, honestly. From this position, if we drop down to second, boy, oh boy. Yeah, any final thoughts, people?
Man, this is Real Madrid, man. It's the hard way or the highway, man. I wouldn't be surprised we draw or we lose, and we drop second, and we draw Haaland to the Bernabeu. And that's the thing, man. And we would fucking knock out the motherfucker, man. Although I'm scared of them, but I mean, at this point, man, anything can happen. I hope we win and get an easier draw, obviously. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, if it's a shambolic performance and we become second.
Doris, your thoughts? What, like, are we getting the job done, or for another trademark heart attack next week?
You know us, but it depends which players are back next week. Do you know if anyone is coming back from injuries? If there are any news?
Benzema is bound to be back by Girona.
Yeah, so obviously with those news, we already know that the game won't look like this, where no one knows where to go, what to play, who to play. At least now you play to bends. That's at least that's our system, is play to bends. If if we had one, and I would just like to say that this game, as we all said, wasn't it? But this is not La Liga. If we had to experiment that loser game, it should be here, and I'm sure next time the team won't look like this. The system will be much different. Everything will be much different, and we can expect more intensity next week. And I agree with the Courtois. Of course I do, because Ancelotti apparently, or he asked them to play the entire half with intensity, which they didn't do, and one of them said he acknowledged that they didn't play well. I don't know which player it was, and we could only see like in the last maybe like 10 minutes of first half that anyone had any sort of intensity where Vinicius scored, and I was like, yes, finally it's happening, like we do every match. We start slow and then we get into it, which usually works when you have players like Valverde and Modric that can handle that stuff. But with Tchouaméni and Camavinga and Kroos not having it today, it wasn't it. But next week against Celtic, I don't know. The formation will go back to normal, I suppose. Especially with Karim coming back, which should obviously help us already. And Ancelotti to know learn what we should do for next game. But we did draw Shakhtar 1-1, and Shakhtar played 1-1 with Celtic today, so it won't be an easy game by any means. Everyone has something to play for, and you know, I just hope that we reach first place so we don't get Haaland. But if we don't, maybe we get Bayern, maybe we get Inter. Hopefully, Inter Inter is our baby, and yeah, I just think that for this game the players should have started a bit better, because it's not like Leipzig is a bad team. They do have and Kunku, one of the best strikers at this point in time, and Werner, which seems to score every time he plays against us. So yeah, I just think that we should have been more careful, but that it won't be a problem next week.
Werner, man, come on. Anyway, the less we speak about him, the better. He's a good person. I have nothing against him, personally. But man, is he a bang average player? But yeah, Jacob, any final thoughts?
No, it's just a game to forget and then move on to La Liga, Girona. Hope we get the job done there as well.
Well, I guess that's pretty much it, people. Once again, since tonight was fucking depressing, I couldn't even, remind you guys to like and subscribe if you're new. So I'll take this opportunity. Likes and subs go a long way, a long, long way. We have been doing this for over a year, and like I would like to admit, like all of us are, very, very humbled by the love that you've shown, and like the only thing that you can do in return is basically a like. Um, it is something small, but it goes a long way, in helping us get the algorithm to basically push us and like keep motivating us to keep creating content. So if you like this, if you like what we do, please leave a like, and yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe right away. And yeah, check out our partners on Instagram, Real Madrid Committee. The link is in the description below. They run a very, very good Real Madrid fan page. Um, yeah. Also, a friendly reminder: turn on your bell icon so that you are notified. Like as soon as we like schedule a live, and you are in the know. We are from different parts of the world, and like we have full-time jobs. Some people are working and studying at the same time, so time frame can be a little messy. So there might be slight changes in how we kind of line up things. So yeah, like to be instantly updated, like turn on the bell icon. So yeah, with that, we'll see you on the Girona preview, hopefully Thursday. Until then, Ala Madrid.
Ala Madrid.
Madrid.
Real Madrid.